Hi guys, this is Sridevi, economics lecturer. Today we are going to discuss our new topic, that is Unit 3, National Income, Poverty and Unemployment. So in this unit we are going to discuss about a national income and income inequalities, poverty and unemployment. So as well as trends in national income and per capita income in India can be studied in this chapter. So apart from these trends in the sectorial contribution to the national income, so what is the share of public in private sectors in a gross domestic product, and also how it is dealt, we can study in this unit. So what is the backdrop to the national income studies? So here the national income trends, especially the changes in the gross or net national products and per capita gross and net national products in the sectorial contribution. So what is the backdrop of national income which is going to be dealt? So national income measures the net value of goods and services which are produced in the country during a particular year. So during the particular year, how much goods they are producing, what are the services they are doing to the other countries can be dealt in this. So the national income is a flow of stock, whereas a national wealth measures the stock and commodities held in the country at the point of time. So in India, national income estimates are relatively of it is in a financial year. So we can deal in which financial year. That financial year starts from April 1st and ends at March 31st. So there are no specific attempts were made for estimating the national income during the pre-independence era. Next, what are the trends in the national income and the per capita income in the India? So in order to understand the impact of planning in India, so a study of trends in national income is very necessary. So it would be better for the national income and the changes in the structural of the national product, and we can analyze the planning, how to implement the plans for further going years. Coming to the trends in the national income, so the increase in the national income at the current prices, it reflects the, coming to a new topic, sectorial contribution of a national income. So to study the national product by the sectorial contribution, it explains the anatomy of the economic structure, means how economic structure is going on year by year, they will explain. So they analyzes the sectorial contribution. It is equally giving importance to the trends of the national income or not. So this structural change in the composition of this national income can be a industrial origin, means there are some consequences in the process of economic growth initiated during the specific planning year or not. So they will give main importance to the primary sector. So what is the contribution of this primary sector? The primary sector constitutes of agriculture, forestry, horticulture and fishing. So during the post-independence period, the share of the primary sector in the net domestic product as verified as maximum. So thus over the years and years, primary sector is in this net domestic product has declined. So the main cause of this decline is rapid fall in the share of agriculture. So rapid fall of agriculture. So along with this, it results in the unfavorable weather conditions as well, in the structural transformation also. So in recent years, the country economy has undergone some structural changes. So transport, like it may be a transport, trade, banking and insurances and other services also have grown very faster. So in this fact, it reflects the estimation of non-domestic product by the industries. So even now for a longer increase in the country's national income, there will be a rapid growth in the agricultural sector also, how they have contributed to the secondary sector. So the secondary sector comprises of what? Mining, manufacturing and construction industry, as well as electricity, gas and water supply and all. So the share of this manufacturing has been increased year by year, and the share of consumption also improved a lot in the recent years. So by year, they are focusing on these sectors so that they are improving a lot. So what is the contribution of the tertiary sector? So the share of this tertiary sector, which includes what? Trade, transport, storage, communication, banking, insurance and real estates and community also. So what is the contribution of the tertiary sector? So the share of this tertiary sector includes what? A trade, a transportation and storage, communications, banking, insurance, real estates and all. So there is a sudden jump of the Indian economy to pass the stages for the post-industrialization services of the economy. There is a fast growth in this economy, so while they have implemented this planning years. Next, what is the share of public and private sectors in the GDP? So at the time of independence, what happened? Activities of public sector was restricted and it is in a limited field, like it is like in a fields of irrigation, power, railways, communications and some departmental undertakings. So after independence, the areas of these activities of the public sector expanded very rapidly, means very speedily it was expanded. To assure the private sectors, its activities will be unduly curbed. So means like two industrial policies resolutions were issued in the year of 1948 and in the year of 1956 to establish a mixed economy in India. These two policies resolutions have divided in the industries into the different categories, like in some fields were left entirely for the public sectors. So while some other fields were divided between the public sectors and the private sectors, and some other fields they left only with the private sectors only. Coming to our next topic, inequalities in the distribution of income and wealth. What are the inequalities we have faced in the income on wealth? Questions like what is the income we are getting, what is the wealth we are getting. So they have appointed a committee over there. So the National Council of Applied Economic Research and some individual researchers have examined in this pattern of income distribution in India. So beside income distribution data, so another way they have captured an inequalities by using the expenditure data. So they have estimated and they came to the conclusion that this inequality is happening because of poverty. So the foregoing evidences shows that the income inequalities in India have the reasons like inequalities in the land ownership. Means inequalities in the land ownership means there was a concentration of landed property in India during the British period on account of zamindari system. Means the zamindari system was abolished immediately after getting independence, yet the concentration of land ownership could be broken. So all these inequalities were happening, and concentration of assets in the private and corporate sectors. So there is an extreme concentration of economic wealth and power in the hands of large industries and have succeeded in the massive assets over the time. So all these are the inequalities happening over there. Also we have faced inequalities in the professional training. So incomes of business executives, engineers, information technologists and lawyers and professionals are often high in the form of fact. So these are superficial conditions which have made all these inequalities, and therefore even in the education and training which inequalities in the income distribution in our country we have faced with the wealth and private properties. Next is inequality is inflation in the raise in the price. So since the mid 1950s price have been raising continuously. So in the real income of the working classes, while the industrialists and the traders, farmers with the large markets have surfaced, they have surplusly benefited. So in India, very little have been done in the offset of this everything has been result in the income inequalities. Next is inequity of credit facilities. So in India there is an inequity in a credit facilities. So which in this there is a rise in the unequal distribution of wealth. So business firms and individuals having an access to the formal capital markets, so they have managed to obtain a finance in a very favorable terms. So while vast masses and the small marginal farmers like agriculture laborers and artisans depends on heavily on money lenders. They used to take money from the money lenders. So what happened? So they will charge a high rate of interest, so that they exploit the poor people in number of ways. This is also an inequity in the credit facility. Next inequity is urban bias of private investments. Like, well, we have 70% of the population in the country living in a rural areas. Next topic is remedial measures. What are the remedial measures we should take? So in earlier phases of economic planning, so elimination of inequalities in the income distribution was one of the proclaimed objectives of the government in this country. So plan documents and policy declarations of the state from the time to time indicators various measures to reducing income inequalities. Like, we have some reasons to follow, like land reforms and redistribution of agricultural land. Means, see, it is well known fact that income inequalities in the rural area sectors estimate mainly from the concentration of a land, agricultural lands. Means they will mainly focus on agricultural lands. So before the abolishing of the zamindari system, what happened? Most of these lands belongs to the absence of landlords. Means who appropriated a large portion of this. They used to succeed these intermediaries in between. And a second is they used to control the monopolies and restrictive trade practices. So controlling of this monopolies is considered as necessary for reduction of the income inequalities. So however, for more than 2 decades after this country got independence, the virtually nothing was done up to prevent this monopolies, growth of this monopolies. And so next is to prevent this monopolies. And now with the increase in the stress of liberalization and the industrial sector, it is very likely with more and more mergers of the monopoly trends have been further strengthening of the economic disparities. So it increased the economic disparities. Next, employment and wage policies. What are the employment and wage policies? Until the 4th 5-year plan, the employment objective was not taken very seriously. So however, since the beginning of the 4th planning year, some special programs were undertaken to crash this scheme for rural employment. Means rural employment, drought-prone programs they have undertaken, self-employment schemes they have taken. So all these programs were short-lived and they have undertaken by this manner. Coming to our next topic, poverty in India. So what is the poverty? What is poverty in India? So what is that concept of poverty in India? So poverty can be defined as a social phenomenon, so in which the section of the society is unable to fulfill the even a basic necessities in life. So even basic necessities also can't be fulfilled. So in that situation, poverty will sustain. So the countries of the third world exhibits invariability of existence of mass poverty. Like we have so some countries have mass poverty and some developing countries have some less poverty. So this everything will depends upon the conditions and by the vision how we see the minimum good life is obtaining or not in the society. So coming to our next topic, poverty in India. So what causes poverty? So this poverty can be defined as a social phenomenon, like in which the section of the society is unable to fulfill their basic necessities of life, means they can't fulfill their basic necessities of their life. So the countries of the third world will exhibit the invariable existence of mass poverty. So underdeveloped countries is poverty, they can face many problems. So what are the types of the poverty we can see? So what are the types of poverty? There are two types of poverty in economic literature. So one is absolute poverty and second one is relative poverty. So what is absolute poverty? So the absolute poverty is the standard and minimum physical quantities of pulses, cereals, milk, butter. So all this etc. are determined under this subsistence level of the price quotations, and they have converted into a monetary terms of physical quantities. Okay, so the population whose level of income or an expenditure is below the figure is considered as a absolute poverty. Okay, so as per the Indian Council of Medical Research, the physical quantities should be led to the provision of 2400 calories per capita in the rural areas. Okay, and relative poverty. So according to the relative standard, the income distribution of the population in different groups is estimated, and they can compare the levels of living, means how they are living, means comparing their levels of living from the top to bottom, and the percentages how people are living in that society. So all this comes into consideration. So the people with lower incomes are relatively poorer where compared to the higher incomes, and even though they may be living above the minimum level of subsistence, and all this are considered as relative poverty. And now, what are the causes of poverty in India? So in India, poverty is caused due to various reasons. So one is less utilization of natural resources. So one of the main cause of poverty in India is underutilization of natural resources like river, forest wealth in our country. Like, therefore, in order to improve the standard of living of the people, natural resources must be used fully. Next, unemployment. In India, there is a large quantity of labor population. So it is difficult to find employment for whole population. So in addition to that, Indian economy also does not find the sufficient capital to expand the industries to such an extent. Like, to entire labor cannot be find the employment. So as a result, unemployment and poverty arises in our country. And third cause is poor education. So education is very much important. So one of the main reason of poverty is this poor education. So the poor people can't afford high level of education, yes or no? So for their children, due to the low income levels. So the level of education and the level of incomes are directly related to each other. So therefore, the education is also the reason for the poverty. And the fourth one is low consumption of essentials. So in India, there is an unavailability of essential commodities. So in other main cause of this is one more main cause of the poverty. So there is a lot of differences between the consumption levels between the rich people and the poor people. And low technology. So in India, the technology used in manufacturing processes and the agricultural production is not appropriate, and it is very low. So addition to this, what happened? The making skills, the capacity to organize the production and the units of financial markets are very low. So as a result, the per capita productivity remains very low. For the high rate of capital formation and to deserve extent of the returns to not generate, not to be generated in the capital. So all these are the causes for keeping the economy poor, very poor. So guys, coming to our last topic, unemployment. So what are the types of unemployment? What is unemployment? Unemployment is nothing but people who are not employed because of their education or their standard of living, so their skills, so the people are unemployed. So we have different types of unemployment. First one is structural unemployment. So what is structural unemployment? This structural employment occurs when the demand for labor is less than the supply of labor. Means the demand for labor will be less than the supply of labor because of an increase in what? Population. So, okay. So in India, the unemployment is mostly related with this category. And second one is underemployment. So what is underemployment? The laborers are said to be underemployed when their skills and abilities are not utilized at their maximum level. So due to this, their contribution of production is also very limited. And third thing is disguised unemployment. So if a person is removed from the work without any adverse effect on productivity, so then he is referred to disguised unemployed, and the marginal productivity of such employees is zero. So they can't produce anything. And a fourth one is open unemployment. So an unemployment, this is said to be an open employment when the workers live without work and they don't find any work to do. So they don't find any work to do. So educated and unskilled unemployment comes under this. Means the person is educated and they don't have any skills. So that type of persons comes under open unemployment. The next is educated unemployment. What is educated unemployment? So an unemployment is said to be educated unemployment when an educated and the skilled person does not find any suitable job according to his qualification. Means according to his qualification, he doesn't find any suitable job to do. So this is a major problem in India which every educated person is facing. And seasonal unemployment means the seasonal unemployment occurs due to the change in the demand based on the seasonal variations. So laborers get unemployed only in some seasons, like only some seasons only they can do the work, and rest of the time they can sit in the homes. So Indian agriculture facts, the kind of unemployment, this is a kind of unemployment, and agriculture provides many employment opportunities for around 7 to 8 months to the people, and remaining days the laborers remain unemployed. Technological unemployment. So what is technological unemployment? The technological unemployment occurs due to the introduction of new technology which replaces the workers. Okay, they will replaces the workers. And the eighth one is frictional unemployment. So what is frictional unemployment? So frictional unemployment appears when a labor transfers an occupational to others. Okay, means they will transfer their occupation to other people. It is due to the imperfection of the labor market. Okay, and cyclical unemployment. So this kind of unemployment occurs due to the negligence of the business activities. Due to negligence of business activities, this type of unemployment will goes on. So it is usually seen in the developed countries. So this is about our Unit 3 National Income, Poverty and Unemployment, and we'll see you in the next class. We'll start with a new chapter, that is 4th unit, in the next class. That's it today. Thank you.